Since it's Valentine's Day, today is the perfect day to talk about love. But did you know that love has a history? With us now is celebrity historian Raffi Andonian to tell us about what love has meant to people over the centuries. Welcome, Raffi.
Well, thank you for having me. And of course, today, speaking of love over the centuries, nobody speaks about love better than Taylor Swift, right?
Right.
Romeo, take me somewhere we can be alone.
Yes.
I'll be waiting. All we have to do is run. Love, baby, it's a love story. Baby, just say yes.
Not
the greatest rendition, but hey.
Good job.
But it speaks to the voices of love that really speak to capturing what love means in each generation across time.
Sure, sure. L is for the way you look at me. Sorry, I had to throw that in myself.
That's right. Go endless songs.
What did love mean to people in the past?
It starts with philosophers, believe it or not. We can think of pop song artists today as a philosopher of some sort, at least in a popular sense, capturing the imagination. But it starts with philosophers. You have ancient philosophers, even prior to Plato, for example, in Greece, that are talking about the conflict between harmony and strife in the cosmos as a form of love and how we connect to that as a form of love. But also, of course, we may be thinking of Plato, the ultimate philosopher. He has a very famous writings where he interviews 7 different people, including Socrates, and comes up with multiple different definitions, even in ancient Greece. For example, one of them is citizenship and being able to be honorable versus dishonorable because you're supposed to love what you're serving. Another one is understanding sort of the earthly versus the sort of heavenly of you know, what is here in the world and what is kind of beyond, something greater than you, and that love that we talk about as well. And then another love, of course, is one that Socrates talks about, which is one where you control the self and improve yourself and love yourself so you're the best version of yourself, which we still draw upon today.
Yes.
So these different versions of love are there across time. Now, of course, there's a Christian versions as well after the ancients. For example, St. Paul, which you probably heard of, and St. Paul talks about agape, which you see that thrown around, which is a selfless, sacrificial love in the context for him of Jesus Christ, because he is, of course, a Christian philosopher and, of course, becomes a saint. Or how about St. Augustine? He talks about love as well, and for him, it's about being able to suppress the carnal and bring out the heavenly. So there's these different versions of love that are going to be defined across time.
So many different versions, so many different names for love, and I think in today's world, we all like to associate love with one word: chocolate.
Right here.
So we have some chocolate. How did chocolate get into the mix for love and Valentine's Day?
Well, chocolate was in Central America prior to European arrival a very elite kind of thing to do. So because it was hard to come by, it was actually not eaten this way. We would not take the butter out, but it would be something they'd eat the fruit of. But when Europeans come in, they start to add sugar. Sugar was a very expensive commodity, makes it kind of a luxury item. It's not quite used for love just yet, but until in the 19th century when sugar becomes a little bit cheaper, that valuable commodity of sugar and chocolate get merged and becomes part of the gift exchange that takes place on Valentine's Day in the 19th and 20th century. Cadbury, which you've probably heard of, out of England, is who starts that. Now go ahead and have one. I think we're going right now through a chocolate revolution nowadays. This is a craft chocolatier called Chocolate. There are craft chocolatiers all over the place. There's a truffle, a classic Valentine's Day symbol. I don't know what flavor it is. Don't ask me.
Well, it's not cherry in the middle. I love anything that has nuts or honey, and that's what I got. This is delicious.
Now, the British had a tradition in the 19th and 20th century of exchanging notes and cards and niceties. So when chocolate becomes more accessible, it's part of the niceties that are exchanged. Cadbury markets it, taking the cocoa butter and the sugar together, like I mentioned, and that's how chocolate enters the mix into Valentine's Day to help symbolize love with each other.
That is fascinating. Thank you for that tidbit. Now, let's talk about the feelings of love. Where do we get the feelings of love today?
I would take that to the Enlightenment. So much more recently, we talked about centuries and centuries, but in the last 300 years or so, in the Enlightenment, in the 18th century, you have a lot of people, including Thomas Jefferson himself, a great romantic. He loves wine, he loves poetry. There's this notion of love with the feelings. The notion of the Enlightenment is about reason and mind. So it's what the heart feels, the mind confirms. It's looking for balance, virtue, service, these kinds of things. And if you're looking in 18th century, there's a lot of romantic plays that are starting to come out. And then later in the 19th and 20th century, you have romance novels that come out. That notion of romance is really getting popularized as a result of the Enlightenment and that period. And take all of that, the feelings of love, and the way you can commodify it here with the chocolate, and that's how you get these modern notions of love today. And it goes to show you that even our feelings are shaped by the society around us.
Love is a mini splendored thing. You proved that today, tasting, feeling, speaking. Thank you for this history, really fascinating. Great spending time with you.
Thank you.
And for more information on Raffi Andonian and endless amount of content, visit celebrityhistorian.com. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.